So you saw a new trailer for Morbius and thought, who's Morbius? And why are they hyping the Spider-Man and Venom movies? Wonder no more, as I shall tell you. Welcome to Exasperated Nerd Explains. Morbius first appeared as a villain in Amazing Spider-Man issue 101. Sony Studios has the rights to Spider-Man and his associated characters due to a deal that was worked out before Marvel had their own movie studio. That is why Venom was made by Sony and, appropriately enough, acts as a vestigial symbiote attaching to Spider-Man instead of being part of the proper Marvel Cinematic Universe. Sony basically has their own pocket universe with an agreement between the two companies to allow Spider-Man to swing in and out of the MCU, at least for now. As you can see in the trailer, Michael Morbius is a doctor with a rare blood disease and in classic comic book fashion experiments on himself to find a cure. Always double check your research before human trials, kids. In the real world, this will kill you and not give you powers. He essentially turns himself into a science vampire, as opposed to the traditional supernatural Dracula vampire. He debuts as a sympathetic villain, trying to cope with his craving for blood before becoming more of a hero or anti-hero, depending on the story. There's a lot of misinformation that his character is dubbed the living vampire, highlighting he is not undead like a traditional vampire as a workaround of the Comics Code Authority, which banned a lot of horror comics and horror story elements because of the children.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
But that's false. By the time Morbius premiered in Amazing Spider-Man, a Tomb of Dracula comic was already being released by Marvel. It was just a way to differentiate the character from traditional vampires because Stan Lee wanted the villain to be a costumed type, and not just Dracula. In the comic books, he has most, but not all, of the traditional vampire powers. He has super strength, super senses, super speed, and super healing, as well as the ability to fly and hypnotize people. He also not only craves, but needs blood in order to sustain his life. He doesn't have the same vulnerabilities like garlic, silver, crucifixes, and holy water, but he is averse to sunlight, which burns him badly but doesn't kill him like a traditional vampire. His bite can also turn others into science vampires, but it doesn't seem to happen all the time. He has created an antidote if this comes up again, even though he can't cure himself completely, though he did for a bit in the comics. And he's ugly, looking like a shaved albino wingless man-bat, or like he belongs on an old metal album cover. He's usually not a bad guy, or at least he doesn't have sinister motives, and is just trying to do whatever it takes to cure himself. He is prone to bloodlust and can attack others in wild frenzy, which can be problematic. It feels like a bit of an odd choice for the second solo Spider-Man property, but at least it's something a bit different as far as superhero films go. I'm sure they thought with the success of the Venom movie, the next solo Spider-Man adjacent movie should also star an anti-hero. The character has shown up on other media, but this will be his feature film debut. A deleted scene at the end of the Blade doesn't count. However, the trailer looks rather generic and isn't something I'd check out if not for the connection to the Marvel Universe. I was pleasantly surprised to see Michael Keaton show up, but that is a cool little crossover, which I'm sure is a 15-second scene. It also feels strange, as most people probably won't make the connection, that Keaton is reprising his role as the Vulture here, since Morbius' tie to Spider-Man is not super apparent. Morbius is a character that's mostly interesting after turning into the living vampire and dealing with the struggles of that condition, so I hope they move along to that point pretty quickly, but I doubt he will be fully transformed until the end of the movie. What did you think of the trailer? Does this spark your interest as a superhero adjacent property? Let me know your thoughts. Check out my other videos. Thanks for watching. Bye.